This is your one and only FireSpark81 with your daily dose of video goodness, and welcome back to another informational Valheim video. Today, I'm going to show you how to just completely shut down the Bonemass boss. Let's get to it. So for those of you who do not know, the Bonemass is the third boss that you have to beat, and he can be a bit of a pain. Now, quick disclaimer, there's a bunch of videos out there already with a bunch of different strategies if you want to face tank this bad boy. Have at it. It's a pain in the butt. He's going to poison the crap out of you. He's going to summon a bunch of ads. If you really want to do it, your best bet is most likely to get a hold of a hammer, either the iron sledge or the stag breaker. Where'd I put my stag breaker? The stag breaker. So you can get the stag breaker as soon as you touch deer head or deer trophy and core wood, and that should give you the stag breaker recipe. You should get it relatively early on. If you want the iron sledge, you're going to need to have touched ancient bark, iron, Ymir flesh, which you buy from the vendor, which you have to find the vendor first, and Draugr Elite trophy. Now, I did not find a Draugr Elite until I ran into a Draugr spawner, and then I hung out there for a bit and was farming it for funsies because, you know, intestines for sausage. And I eventually got a Draugr Elite. They have purple eyes, and they drop the head. Once I did that, I got the recipe for the iron sledge. So there's the stats on that. I recommend that because it has a huge AoE and knocks things back from you, and also poison resist potions, and be super prepared. It's gonna be rough, and that's about all I'm gonna talk about it if you want to face tank it, because I didn't really practice face tanking it. I broke him. So that's what we're gonna talk about today, is how to just break him. So you're gonna need a little bit of preparation before you do this. So first off, you're gonna need frost arrows, because all of the other arrows, and I'll show you when we start to fight him, all of the other arrows do like minuscule amounts of damage. Frost arrows should hit him relatively hard if you got a decent amount of levels into bows. You can see here I'm 45, so the damage numbers that you're going to be seeing are what you should be getting, around what you should be getting if you are in your 40s. To get the frost arrows, you need the freeze glands, and you get those by going to your mountain biomes. So if you're not familiar with what the mountain biomes look like, this is them. They're cold. They're very cold. You go in there unprepared, you're going to freeze to death and get eaten by wolves. But if you go in there prepared, you should be fine. Now, the drakes spawn near the peak is the only places that I've seen them, near the peaks of the mountains. But of course, the size of these things can vary. If you take a look here, I have a long strip of mountain biome on this landmass, so that gives you an idea of how they can vary in size. So you would just run up to the peaks here and just kind of run across the top of these looking for these things. Now, they don't always spawn on like the tippy top. When I say the peaks, I mean just like you're not going to find them, or at least I haven't found them, down around the edge. You got to head toward a little more towards the middle. So this is what they look like, and I advise just shooting them with a bow. Any old bow will do. Just shoot them from a distance, and they don't seem to be a very good aim with their ranged attack, so you can just kind of step a little bit to the side, or sometimes just stand there and they'll completely miss. They are a horrible shot, so just shoot at them with your bow, take them down, and then you will get the freeze glands. Now, with the freeze glands, let's take a look at the arrows here so you can see what all you need to get a hold of before you're able to make these. You will also need obsidian. Obsidian can be found in the mountain biome as well. It looks kind of like all of the other rocks, except all the other, I mean, it's covered in snow like all the rocks up there in the mountain biome, but it's a little bit darker, and I harvested it with an iron pickaxe. So should be able to harvest it with any pickaxe. I don't know. I didn't test, to be honest with you. I had an iron with me. I used the iron pickaxe to harvest it. It seems to be relatively prevalent up there in the biome as well. And then you're going to need 2 feathers and wood. So once you've touched obsidian, once you've touched the freeze glands, you will have already touched wood and most likely feathers. You should just get this recipe for the frost arrows. Now, to get into the biome, I highly recommend just making some frost resistance mead. It's relatively inexpensive, so if we take a look here, you'll get it once you head to the swamp biome, once you've been in there and you've killed some leeches. Here it is right here. You're going to need 10 honey, you're going to need 5 thistle, 2 blood bag, and 1 of the gray dwarf eyes. Now the blood bags come from the leeches, so just kill leeches in the swamp and get blood bags. Thistles can be found in the swamp and the dark forest, and then honey, you just gotta find bees. Bees can be found all over the place in the structures that spawn around the map. I've seen them in everything from the stone structures to the wood structures. So my advice for bees is just shoot at them with a bow and you'll break the hive, and then you'll get the queen bee, and then you can get honey. Then you're just going to put that mead base into a fermenter. At this point, you should be at the stage where you have the fermenter. So if we take a look here, there's the recipe for it. It's bronze, fine wood, resin, and you got to have forge nearby, and then you can make the fermenter. It takes a couple of days for it to ferment, but once it ferments, you should get 6 of them. If you take a look here, if I eat one, they last 10 minutes a piece. That's going to give you a full hour's worth of time in the frozen biome every time you craft one of these frost-resistant mead bases. That should be more than enough time to go up there and farm the glands that you need. I highly recommend bringing at least a full stack of frost arrows, if not more. If you want to go over the top, go over the top. But if not, then, I mean, at least a full stack. Now, you don't have to use the frost arrows. If you want to sit there and peck at this guy for however long it takes to do it with flint, then have at it. It'll be a good way to train your skills. He's not going to do anything but stand there and let you shoot him anyway. But it's probably going to take you at least an hour to bring him down with flint arrows. It may be longer. I don't know. I didn't try. I used frost arrows. I'll show you the kind of damage I do with my skill level with flint arrows once we start attacking him. Okay, so now that we have all of the preparation out of the way, let's talk about what you're going to need to summon him. You're going to need 10 withered bone. You find the withered bone in the crypts in the swamp. For those of you who do not know what the crypts look like, check out my guide on how to get iron. It's in the Valheim playlist. It's linked below. Actually, you should just watch all of the guides down there if you haven't watched them yet. But you need to defeat the second boss, and you need to have the key on you in order to get in here. You can see it says it requires the swamp key. Once you get in there, you should find the withered bones inside of these. They're all over the place in the swamp, depending on, well, your map gen. This swamp here has way more than my other ones have. Okay, so once you have your 10 withered bone that you need to summon this guy, and you have at least a stack of frost arrows and some other backup arrows, and you have found his summoning location, you can see right there it is. It's a giant skull. What you want to do is you want to find one of these large trees here that can't be knocked down. If you take a look here, if I hit this thing, I can't actually damage it. Why is that important? That is important because what we are going to do is we are going to build a tree house way up in it, like you see here. So what I did was I just built a crafting bench, workbench, whatever it's freaking called, right here down at the bottom, built up pretty high as I could reach and still build. I built a support beam against the tree, and then I just attached one of the floor pieces to it. Now, you don't have to build the support beam. I just did to give it a little bit of extra structure support. You should be able to attach one of these to a tree just fine, like you see there. So you want to get nice and high up in the tree, as high as you can reach to start with, and then you want to build a couple of platforms to get just a little bit higher, and then you want to build another one of the support beams. You can see that I have one right there. And then we're going to jump up in here, and then I built out and around, as you see here. You can see what I've done, and then I just enclosed it in and closed it in however you want. Now this hole is so that we can shoot him. You need to leave a hole in the bottom because he's going to stand right directly underneath of you. I also have this too thick just in case anything goes wrong. So let me show you how I went about doing that. So what you're going to do is you're going to attach a piece. So we're just going to attach a piece like that. Then you want to use one of these wood beams, snap it to the side. Then if you grab another floor piece, it should snap directly to the top. That branch is in my way, of course. It should snap directly to the top here, like so. And now you have it too thick. So once you've done this, this is super important. You must do this. This is the whole way that we're going to break him. And you need to make sure you get up nice and high. So here's a picture of how high I am above his head. That's the most important part. If you build down here, he has ranged AoE attacks that are going to hit you. You're going to have archers shooting at you. He's going to summon adds. It's going to be a mess. If you build anywhere on the ground, it's going to be the same. Don't try to build on one of the fallen over trees. Only build on these trees like you see here that can't be damaged, and make sure that you build nice and high up. So if he attacks your little hut there for whatever reason, you probably didn't build high enough. Okay, so once you've done all that, now we've finally hit enough preparations, we can walk in here and summon him. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna walk up here, we're gonna hit 7, and then we're gonna immediately run for our base. And we're gonna head straight up into it. Oh, of course, I'm having some issues. We're gonna head straight up into it like this. Now, he should be, he's summoned. Now, he should just wander on over here. Let's jump out here and make sure. There he is. He sees us. See, he's gonna throw stuff. Throw slimes. That's a massive AoE when he does that. So I just want to make sure that he gets over here, and then we're gonna hop up in our base. Now we're just gonna hang out and wait patiently. He's gonna show up directly underneath of us. Look at all that AoE. It's just a poison fest down there. Okay, so first let's start with the Flint Arrows so you can see how much damage Flint Arrows do, because it's crap. So if you want to use Flint Arrows, you can, but you're going to do 8.8 points of damage to him every time you shoot him. So, like I said, you could sit here and do this. This would be a great way to level bows if you have not leveled bows. This is what fire arrows do if you shoot a fire arrow at him. So 8.2, and then it hits him for 0.7. So, yeah, there you go. That's crap. It was hitting him for 0.6 last time, but I leveled since then, so apparently it could be less if you have even less in bows. Now, let's take a look at the frost arrows. There we go. Now we're chunking him down. So even though we're doing 76 per, I mean, I still recommend at least a stack, once again, if not more. And the great thing about this is you're going to wear through your bow relatively quickly, but we have a workbench up here and it's enclosed. So look at that. Bam. There we go. Whoa. Let's make sure that we actually equip our bow. We have our bow equipped back, and it's full again, and we can just sit here and shoot him. And we just leveled again. Now we're doing even more. So once again, if you take a look at my level, your damage is going to be different depending on how much time you've spent leveling bows. So I'm at 46 now. So this is the damage that you're going to see around this much if you are 46 in bows. If you're less in bows, you're probably going to see less damage. But that's fine. You can level bows, say here, level your bows by shooting him with flint or heck even wood arrows and just use him as a target. As you can see, he can't do anything and he won't do anything. He's completely shut down. He has no attacks to reach us up here. He only has large ground and slightly above ground, basically at his head level attacks. So he can't do anything. And if he summons anybody to shoot at us, it's not even going to be that big of a deal because we're too thick, so it's going to be a while before any archers or anything get through there. But yeah, we can just sit here, and he's in a kind of a bad spot. Can we hit him better here? There we go. Now we got him to move a little bit. So he's just going to do this, and this is it. This is the whole fight. You can see he's doing stuff down there. It doesn't really matter. Okay, we've almost got him down. You can see I'm down to 16 arrows, so we are almost out of ammo, but I should be able to finish him off with those last few there, and there we go. So we got him with 13 arrows left. So what does that tell you? That tells you that you can easily do some math here. So if your skill is in bows is, for example, I'm up to 47 now. So if your skill is say 20 right now, then bring 2 stacks of arrows. If your skill in bows is only 10, then you should probably bring 3 stacks or 2.5 stacks of arrows. So you can kind of judge in there how many you need to bring. And then of course, always just bring a bunch of backup arrows. Just bring a bunch of either flint arrows or just the wood arrows. If worst comes to worst, it doesn't really matter because he can't do anything. He won't do anything. And you can just sit here and infinitely repair your bow. Yeah, it's going to take you a little bit, but you're just going to level bows, which is going to be good for you in the long run anyway. That's pretty much it to this one. Almost all of this fight is pure preparation. Just getting the frost arrows and being able to get the frost arrows, so needing the frost resistance mead to get in there to get the glands and finding the drakes. Once you've done all of that, I mean, once again, even if you don't want to do that and you just want to build this and use wood arrows and you don't care that it's going to take you, you know, an hour to bring him down, I mean, you don't even have to do any of that other stuff. Just make flint or wood arrows and sit here and peck him for 8 damage, or if you're lower in bows, probably like 2 or 3 until you bring him down. This setup right here is your most important setup. This is something that you need to make sure that you do. Once again, take a look at this image real quick so you can see how high I built above him, and then build your floor 2 thick. And then after you beat him, you're still going to have a bunch of his adds down here. They're really easy to deal with if you bring a hammer. Bring the stag breaker or the hammer that I'm using here, the iron sledge, and you can just smash the ground a few times and take them down. There we go. Or you can shoot them with a bow, but I find the hammer works really well for getting rid of large groups of enemies. But that's it. That's the guide. That's how to just completely, if you don't want to fight him, if you don't want to get in there and fight him by yourself or fight him with a bunch of friends, that's how you can absolutely just destroy the AI and take him down. Okay, so hopefully you all found this video helpful. If you did, consider hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other videos. And I don't just cover Valheim, it just so happens that it is the featured game on the channel right now. I cover all kinds of different games, so you never know when I'm going to be making guides for a game you may be playing. Alright, that is going to wrap it up for this episode. If you like what you saw, consider hitting that sub button. I want to give a big thank you to my patrons for making this episode possible. Y'all are absolutely amazing people. If you'd like to join my Elite Crew Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and show your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.